Do you want to grow your business to a place where you're not the one doing all the work? Or maybe do you just want to figure out how to get work without having to go knock on doors all the time? And so today I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of like the hack so that an introvert can do sales successfully without having to knock on any doors. And however you are personality-wise, you can invest your time better in a way that's more scalable for the long term. And so I want to just draw a little point for an example. You could kind of compare the idea of something like door-to-door sales or sales in general to hunting, and in contrast with farming, which would be more your marketing end of things. And it's kind of important to draw the difference because hunting has its place. You can get a good score when you go on the hunt, and it can be very advantageous to be good at hunting. But there's going to be times where you're going to have winter, and hunters don't thrive in winter as well as farmers do. When you're a farmer and you're able to prepare and you store things, you go up. My family grew up in the Midwest, and whenever we would go visit my grandparents, they would have all kinds of things that they would do canning. They'd have jars and jars of vegetables and fruits that they grew in their own garden, and they'd save them for the winter because obviously you need to stock up and get through the slow times. And when you look at that with the home service business, like window cleaning or pressure washing in particular, there's a lot of parallels. So you can go out there and just go door knocking, and hopefully you'll get some work and you'll be able to feed yourself for the next week. Typically, you're going to be able to go knock on around $100 doors in the timeline of a day. And maybe you might be able to get 8 sales out of that if you're really good at talking to people and a lot of people are home. But the thing is, you just spent a whole day knocking on doors. You didn't actually earn any money because you didn't actually do any work. Unless you've already got some people working for you who do that, and all the better, good job on doing that. But long term, that's a lot less sustainable. You look at all the biggest brands out there. Does McDonald's ever knock on your door trying to sell you a year subscription to McDonald's? It has never happened to me. The one biggest example of door knockers out there would be like cable service, where they're selling you a year subscription and you get a special deal if you sign up for multiple things bundled up. And that's where I learned all of my door-to-door stuff. And here's a pretty good indication of why that's not great long term. You look at whether it's DirecTV or Verizon, when they were rolling out Fios in New York, that's who I was working for. Anytime they're sending out door-to-door sales guys, the majority of time, they're not employees of that company. They're a contractor. It's a direct marketing sales company that's recruiting door-to-door sales reps, trying to train them really quickly and just get out there. And the clincher is they're not really caring as much about the sales, although they do get that nice initial boost. And that's the only time they'll use them, is that first boost when they're launching in a new territory. And it's primarily to raise awareness, because you can't get any more aware than somebody being right in your face. But long term, they segue away from that. They invest in commercials. They invest in their SEO and their web presence and Facebook ads and whatever other venue they can find, direct mail. They'll find other ways to try to get their name out there and their reputation and build it. But the thing is with door-to-doors is it doesn't help your reputation very much. If you're very nice, very good person, and you know how to talk about anything to anyone, and you just got that knack for people skills, then you could be masterful on your own, and you could grow a company up to 5 trucks or so. But eventually, you're going to need somebody to manage those people, and you're going to be able to more reliable sources of leads. And so this is where the farming comes in handy, because the hunting, look at history. Any of the groups that were successful hunters, and that's how they got their primary meat, their primary source of food, hunters and gatherers, they stayed very small. They were very intimate tribes. There's a good place for it, but their little villages did not turn into massive empires. The ones that built into massive empires were the ones who learned successful farming skills and were able to mass produce food so that people would be free to do other things that would help the local economy, whether it was learning a trade or creating other forms of resources, because they had their sustenance, because food became so cheap, they could afford to do other things with their time. And so it's the same thing with home services. You need to find those little levers, those little tricks that help you to actually farm leads. Then if you love hunting, if you're good at door to door, instead of having to go knock on 20 doors where there's, half of the people aren't home and then the other half don't want to talk to you, now you're dealing with warm contacts, people who you found through, whether it's Facebook ads or direct mail. Now you can go there in person and actually close, instead of just closing a window cleaning thing on the spot. Your job now is to upsell them to other services or to greater frequencies, where if you really like to sell them on an annual subscription package where you're bundling multiple items together. But then you're not having a hunt for just that next one job. So as you're growing, you need to find these other abilities, these other ways to get in front of people, to spread your awareness of your brand and your company. And where now you're not just, hey, excuse me, can I bother you? I'm going to bother you right now. Let me walk around your house real fast. Well, what kind of a price would you do it for? Obviously, if it was free, you'd let me do it right now. So could I bring the price down $50? Guys, that has its place, especially when you're starting out. If your back's against the wall and you need to get some bread, you need to feed your family, you need to pay some bills, you got to pay rent, then by all means, do whatever you got to do to get a couple of dollars. But if you kind of cut your teeth on that, now you got really good sales skills, you can talk to people and kind of nurture the conversation in a way where they're going to want to do business with you, well then do that with the more profitable individuals, those ones who've already reached out expressing interest, and just farm those conversations. So then instead of knocking on 20 doors with nobody home, you're going into 20 houses where they've reached out to you and you already know they want work done, they want to spend money. And so those are the ones who I'm going to focus on, because they're the ones who are going to come back over and over because they value their property and they value maintaining their property and keeping it at a certain level of aesthetics that are appeasing, where you're their best ally to do that. So some of these doors you're knocking on, they're never going to ever hire anybody to clean windows. The most they would ever do is, if they feel insulted by you asking, they might spray some Windex on it and wipe it off and say, look, I clean my own windows. And they're not your customer, so don't waste your time with them. How do you got postcards? You got yard signs, you've got Facebook ads, organic Facebook and social media posts. You've got places like Yelp and Nextdoor, and you've got, I already said postcards, door hangers, just finding ways to get in front of people in non-invasive ways and begin to develop the conversation. And that whatever marketing strategy you're using, the primary thing you're trying to do is create awareness first and open up the conversation, so that when they need your service or when they realize that it would be helpful to them, they reach out to you to get a price. And then from there, your goal would be to get them to book and to get on your list of customers that you can help. Because when you help them, you're going to go above and beyond and wow them. So that way they're going to want to work with you over and over and tell all their friends about it. So to carry on with that analogy of farming versus hunting, well, if you enjoy the hunt, that's still a great thing to have in your arsenal. But instead of hunting a deer, why don't you consider hunting elephants? If you're going to be knocking on doors, do it with the big ones that are going to return on your investment of time that much more. So instead of a $200, $300 window cleaning job of a house, start to cold call or to create a list that you can reach out to with automations like email and voicemails and texts, and start targeting the middle size office buildings or something that's a little bit larger, something that's going to be recurring where you can clean their exterior windows every quarter or so. Those jobs that are going to turn into $2, $3, $4, even $10 or more $1,000 jobs. Otherwise, make sure that you're farming all these leads in. And so then when you're going to hunt, you're going to kill. You're not just knocking on a bunch of doors. You're talking to those key decision makers, the ones who are ready to go. They want to buy now. Their money is in their pocket and they're saying, who will take my cash? And that's going to be you. Talk to those guys, not the ones who are upset and they feel like you're pulling teeth trying to knock on their door. By the way, guys, thank you so much for watching to this point in the video. My name is Ben. I own Blue Ladder. This is my third window cleaning company, and I'm working to scale this as large as I can. I let one fizzle out because I didn't know what I was doing. I'm helping you to not be that guy that I was when I first started. And then the second business, I was able to successfully sell and get out of Dodge and move to Texas, and where I'm trying to build my own little mini empire, my legacy. So if you've got questions or comments, let me know below. And if you want to support my channel, you can become a member for a few bucks a month just as a thank you, which thank you for the ones who've already done that. The other thing you could do is using any of the affiliate links that I post on a regular basis, whether it's for Jobber or for Responsibid or for Next Job or for window cleaning supplies. You get the idea. These are all things that I use regularly, that I endorse, that I only put it up there because I use it and like it and think it might help somebody else. So I'll see you guys in the next video.